What's going on, guys? It's Nick here, back with another video. It's Monday, so you know time it is. Time for another mock draft. Monday, we're doing the same setup as usual, going over an underdog draft we do with subscribers each week, and then we're going to do a live draft on Fantasy Pros after that. We got to start things off as usual, the stat of the day. Yesterday's stat, among the 12 quarterbacks with at least 11 interceptions last season, only 2 of them did not throw a pick six. That's more of a luck-based thing. They were probably going to throw one over time. Teddy was one, who was the other. Matt Ryan, I don't know who got this one right because I have to record the mock draft Mondays early, but someone will. And so I'll pin that in the comment section below. Today's stat, who was the tallest running back to have at least 50 receptions last season? We'll see if any of you can guess that one right. So here is the Underdog Draft. I was given the 10th spot. This is a 12-team league. And just like with all the Underdog Drafts, it's 2 running back, 3 wide receiver, 1 flex, 1 tight end, 1 quarterback, and then a boatload of bench options. We're not actually done this one, but let's be honest, you don't care too much about the 17th, 18th round picks. I'll pin that in the comment section as well, let you guys know who I pick with this one. But let's just walk through this, and then we've got a few that I want to touch on because I think they had really, really good roster construction. So I want to point that out as well. So we start off with Tyreek Hill. This is something I'm actually going to go over in tomorrow's video, the RB0 strategy. But I mean, look at my options. I mean, I could have taken Najee Harris. That was basically who I was considering at this pick. But I figured either I take him now or maybe I get him in the next round. But I don't know, the value of Tyreek Hill was there. This being a best ball format as well, I really want to capture those spiked weeks with Tyreek Hill, so I thought that was a great pick at 10. Of course, take Harris in the next round. I don't know. I should probably bring that up, though. I'll bring it up when we do the actual draft, what my rankings are. But I can promise you that was a value according to my rankings. I have Harris ahead of Eckler. I had him ahead of Chubb. I don't have him ahead of any of these running backs, whatever that brings him to, what, 5, 6, 7, 8, he'd be my 9th running back. So give me the second round, I think that is great. And then also, you guys have heard me say, I preferred this like modified RB0 approach. I want to be getting a running back in one of the first 2 rounds, and I figured, well, this has to be my opportunity because there's only 2 picks, and so I already took Tyreek Hill. So I think that was sharp. A ton of picks go by. We see all the tight ends. Kelsey went off the board 6th overall, but all the other tight ends come off the board. Mahomes comes off the board. And so we're not looking at tight end. We're not looking at quarterback with this pick. I've been picking like Amari Cooper a lot, it seems. But again, best ball. And also, he was phenomenal with Dak at quarterback last season. You could have taken CeeDee Lamb there as well. I think they're very comparable picks. But I do lean Amari Cooper over Lamb as of right now. I do think by the end of the season, could Lamb be their top target? Yes, but this is an offense that could easily be just the number 1 scoring, number 1 total volume offense in terms of, I guess, like yards gained, touchdowns. They could be the number 1 offense. And so taking the number 1 receiver on the number 1 offense makes sense. And honestly, I might have the number 1 receiver on the number 1 and the number 2 offense. So I definitely like that. Then I go with Mike Evans with the next pick. Talked about him in the Saturday video. Make sure you check that one out if you haven't. He's not volatile. I mean, he has this high ceiling, but he easily comes with that floor. And again, in best ball, I don't really care as much about the floor. But even in season long, I'm smashing Mike Evans in the 4th round every single time. I think he is a fantastic pick. And I've just captured 3 what I think can be wide receiver 1s. It can be concerning not having running back this far out, but I don't need necessarily to have 2 running backs in these first 4 picks. But I did want one in the 5th. Took Javonte Williams. I do think he could end up being even like he could sneak into the 4th round. If really reports start coming out that's like he's definitely the one ahead of Melvin Gordon, I think he could be a 4th round pick. But I'm absolutely in love with that in the 5th round. Think that's a great pick. And because honestly, after that, what were my options? I mean, I could go with, I was just looking at my team. I feel like, okay, I'll go over that in a second. So we look at what my running back options were to begin this round. It's like there's some okay options, Hunt, Etienne, Gaskin. Obviously, I couldn't get those. So I'm talking about who was going in this round. After Williams, it's like, I mean, I don't like Sermon nearly as much. Edmonds is definitely an option, but I'm not 100% confident yet. I think I need a lot of reports to come out of camp, like saying he's got that job secure. After that, it's James Robinson. I mean, Etienne is there. Like him in RB0, but like Didn't go RB0. I might need this spot. Michael Carter, I have concerns there. And it's like all these running backs have concerns. I think Williams is probably that last chance to get someone I think can just break out on their own. I think is very, very talented. Is going to have a good season. So through 5 rounds, I love the draft. Najee Harris, Jonathan Williams, I feel very confident about them. Tyreek Hill, Amari Cooper, Mike Evans, how could you not feel confident about those guys? Next round, I do take Mark Andrews, and that was basically like what I just said. I mean, I wanted Brandon Ayuk, but of course he gets sniped from me. This is a subscriber league. You guys know I love him, so you guys are always going to take him. Didn't love the value, though, at wide receiver. Like, can I take Galladay, Sutton, Claypool? Yeah, I think they're all good. But what's the value in taking my 4th wide receiver here instead of starting to get some other positions? Like, we can draft a bunch of wide receivers late in best ball and just kind of gain that value that way. I don't need a 4th receiver, so I didn't want to do that. Quarterback, I didn't see any great value. You guys know I do not like Justin Herbert this season. Wilson would have been fine, but I'd prefer him if I had Metcalf, if I had Lockett. And it was just like I didn't see a value there, so I'm not going there. So I just figured Mark Andrews, I mean, could he have a nice season? Yeah, and even if he has a bust of a season, tight ends stink anyway, so I feel like the 6th round was a nice spot for him. Not going to lie to you, pretty sure I didn't have internet for the Dallas Goedert pick because a second ago you guys saw me pause. I really don't remember drafting Dallas Goedert. I did go camping during this draft, and I'm pretty sure there was a large stretch where I was like, how is it not my pick yet? And then I took Tom Brady. So pretty sure I did not actually make this pick. But honestly, the pick kind of makes a little bit of sense. Maybe I just don't remember making it. But a lot of receivers went off the board that we like. And could I have taken LaVisca with this pick? Yeah. Could have taken Antonio Brown, Pittman. But there were definitely no running backs that I really liked. So maybe I did make the pick. I don't personally remember making it. But I guess it makes a little bit of sense. Once we've taken these 2 tight ends, you're not touching tight end after that. You know, you're not taking Andrews and Goddard, another one. Like, there's just so much less value. I'm assuming if I win this league that one of those 2 is having a really nice season. I don't need to spend picks at that position. At the end of the draft, I can take more running backs and wide receivers. After that, I go with Tom Brady, pair him with Mike Evans, basically saying, hey, if I can make it, you know, really, really far in this league, or I guess I can... It's not like a playoff format, but if I can make it towards the high end, it's going to be because Mike Evans is having these spiked weeks, and I want to capture the spike of Tom Brady as well. Plus, just in general, he's going to be a good quarterback. But that is why I took him over Stafford, right? Because I don't have a Rams player. Like if I had Robert Woods instead, I mean, this person took Stafford and Woods. I think that's great as well. You wouldn't want him taking Brady and me taking Stafford. There's no correlation there, right? So him taking Stafford, me taking Brady makes complete sense. After that, I take Mostert. Haven't really taken him too many times in mock drafts, I don't feel like, but the late 9th round for Mostert, like that's definitely later than he's going on average. I've said I kind of avoid him in general, but he definitely goes earlier in the 9th round. And I mean, he's going to have a role. He's very, very fast. So he's definitely going to have some weeks where he has that spike in production, that, 30, 40 yard rushing touchdown. And so I want to be capturing that. I take Trey Lance. That's like a mini stack there. Just saying that if Mostert ends up being the one over Trey Sermon, I mean, I'm capturing potentially all the touchdowns there. And you guys heard me say, I think Trey Lance is going to outscore Justin Herbert this season. I think that once he secures that role, he's going to be a top 10 quarterback. And so getting him in the 10th round is kind of insane value for me. Took those 2 quarterbacks. Again, I'm assuming they work out, and that's how I win this league. So I'm not taking another quarterback. I'm not taking another tight end. I'm just getting running backs and wide receivers the rest of the way through. And so I just take like upside picks. I take a bunch of upside wide receivers. Parker has weekly upside. Jacoby Myers, I think, is the wide receiver 1 in New England, 13th round. Late 13th round is crazy for that. Tyrell Williams, I think, could be the wide receiver 1 for Detroit. Basically, your strategy in late should kind of be who's a wide receiver 1 or has the potential to be a wide receiver 1 in the 13th and 14th round. And it's like, okay, I mean, Jacoby Myers is the wide receiver 1. Tyrell Williams could win that role, and getting them that late, you probably shouldn't be able to get a wide receiver 1 on a team that late. Take Amari Rodgers because he could win the wide receiver 2 job, and if Aaron Rodgers stays, that's great value in the late 15th round. I take David Johnson and take Samaje Perine. Just upside picks. I mean, could David Johnson absolutely bust a season? Sure, but it's the 12th round. I mean, he could still be the running back 1 on that team. Still could have receptions. It's the 12th round. No one's really going to work out here. And then I take Perine. I don't love it as much anymore. I've been taking him late, but I don't remember his name Their 6th-round rookie is apparently excelling in camp right now, but I mean, there's like no pads in camp right now, so I mean, everyone should be excelling. Once we kind of get more information there, if it looks like that, again, I don't remember his name, the 6th-round rookie, if it looks like he's securing like a 3rd-round role, it's going to bump P. Ryan down a little bit, because right now I'm saying I think P. Ryan can get me some points every week. But obviously, P. Ryan's going to be the guy if Mixon goes down. And that's basically the thinking in taking him in the 16th is Mixon has another season-ending injury. I've secured the lead back on a really, really good offense in the 16th round. After this, I mean, I'm probably just going to maybe take 1 running back, 1 receiver. How many running backs do I have? 1, 2, 3, 4. I have 5. It'll just be a value. If I see a running back I like, I'll take him. If not, I'll probably take 2 wide receivers and just crush wide receiver in this league. I mean, if I take 2 more receivers, I should have the highest scoring wide receivers pretty much every single week. I'm weaker at some other positions, but I think I really like how this worked out because I think my 2 running backs are solid. I think I have upside at the other picks. And then Andrews and Goddard should combine to produce really, really nice tight end production. So I will let you guys know how the rest... Oh, no. Bring that back up. I wanted to go over some of the players here. So, again, although I'll let you guys know how that is. Some players I wanted to highlight. I love Big Fella 17 here. I think a really sharp strategy is taking these 3 running backs. I've been taking like Jones and Dobbins as much, but like if you like Dobbins, you like Jones because you think, I mean, if Rodgers stays, that's a good pick. If he leaves, it's a bad pick. But regardless of like who he actually drafted, I like the idea of taking these 3 running backs and just saying, I'm going to load out everywhere else. I'm going to take Lamar Jackson and Trevor Lawrence. I'm going to take Julio, Sutton, Fuller, Antonio Brown, Mooney. Like, I'm just taking all these shots. I'm just going to abandon the running back position because I assume if I'm winning this league that Dobbins is working out, that Aaron Rodgers is staying, that I've crushed running back. I don't need another running back. So you don't even technically need to take Cohen. But honestly, Cohen's actually a good pick too because with that next pick, you probably just want to take someone who's getting you like secure points. But you could have even waited even later and just keep going after wide receiver, win wide receiver with volume. Draft 10 wide receivers and say I only need to start 3 of them. Someone's going to have a spiked week every week. So I like that start. I like wrist speed. I don't know how you'd say that. I like his draft as well. Grabs Cam Akers, I think is a stud running back. Loads up on receivers. I mean, drafted very similarly to how I drafted, but loads up on these receivers. Takes a high upside running back in Mike Davis. So if Davis works out and Akers works out, he's got a really nice start. He grabs a nice stack here. Matthew Stafford, Robert Woods, Tyler Higbee. So if that offense is working out, and even with Cam Akers, I mean, he's capturing like every single touchdown that happens, stacking them as well if they're passing touchdowns. It's just really, really sharp if you think the Rams go off, which I do. I like the start of Green Monster here, or Green Monster here. Takes your running backs to start. Again, waits for the rest of them. That is a smart thing to do. Stacks CeeDee Lamb with Dak Prescott. He gets Brandon Ayuk. He gets LaVisca. A lot of players that we really like. Allen Robinson. So really like that start there. I believe there was a start, I think over here. I liked the 2 pick here. Great start with Dalvin Cook, DK Metcalf, and Darren Waller, just getting 3 absolute studs. I don't like Jacobs, but I think going back to running back there is sharp. And then going with Chase, going with Wilson to stack with Metcalf, I think is smart to do. I like how young his team is at wide receiver. Metcalf, young up and coming, rookie and Chase, rookie and Smith. I think his team carries a lot of upside. So I think that was a good draft as well. Let's see, one more. I like this one. I like Sewell here. Definitely needs Swift to work out because, you know, I have confidence in Carter, but not like all the confidence in the world in the 7th round. But if Swift end up working out, I mean, Jefferson's great. Deontay Johnson we love. Kyler Murray we love. Curtis Samuel we love. Pittman we love. Like, there's just a lot of players that we really like on this team. And then actually I like the Kelsey Mahomes stack here as well. So I think everyone did a smart job. We see correlation in these drafts. Again, you're going to want at least one of your quarterbacks stacked with a pass catcher of some sort. And if you can't do that, try and do something like I did. Grab Trey Lance is just a mobile quarterback, so you don't necessarily need to stack him with anyone. But grabbing the running back as well, just saying I want to try and capture all of the touchdowns. If this team scores 40 in a week, I'm doing pretty well because I've captured the touchdowns there. So again, I'll let you know how that goes, but why don't we do a draft now? That was a half PPR draft, so we will do a full PPR now. We'll do the one pick. We've done a few late ones, the mid ones. We'll go back to early. I don't think I've done one in a while. Let's go back to the setup that I love, and we'll do 2 running back, 2 receiver, 2 flex, so you can start off with whatever strategy you want. We'll keep everything normal because it's full PPR. We're not expecting super heavy at running back. And we will begin the draft. So again, I'm not saying we need to do anything. We don't need to load out wide receiver. We don't need to load out running back. We can basically draft however we would like. In this one, we are going to take Christian McCaffrey whenever this draft ends up starting. This happened last time too. It said, do you want to kill the page? I don't know what they did to make this so slow, but we're going to take Christian McCaffrey. And then I'll bring up the draft board because there's going to be 1,000,000 picks before we go. So here is the draft board. So after we go, we see Derrick Henry, Dalvin Cook, Saquon Barkley, Alvin Kamara. We see the 2 wide receivers come off the board, Adams and Tyreek Hill. We see Eckler. There's not even, okay, well, Kelsey hasn't come off the board yet. That doesn't make much sense. We see just a bunch of wide receivers running back come on. We see Zeke, Taylor, Eckler, Gibson, Jones, Harris, Chubb, and Mixon all come off the board. I think that may have ended the elite running backs. No, we see Akers still. Okay, well, I don't understand what these people are doing right now. I mean, obviously, like, the thing is, like, top 3 picks are very, very nice to have because, it's not like we've seen reaches, right? You can say, like, oh, well, Kelsey should have been drafted. Oh, Akers should have been drafted. But it's like, look at the running backs that got taken. I mean, obviously, we have a different ranking with Akers here, but think about all of the running backs that are off the board right now. We love Harris as well. Aaron Jones will be a stud if Rodgers stayed. We love Gibson. We love Eckler. It's like, we love all of these guys. So it's like, when you have, an early first-round pick, you're able to pair one of these stud running backs with 2 more really, really nice picks. Also, people ask me, like, all the time what my favorite spot to draft is. I mean, early is probably the best because things like this can happen. You can have an elite running back, just one we know is going to be awesome, and pair them with 2 really, really nice players. The back half of the first round is also pretty good because you're securing 2 players that you really love. You can go RB0. You can start off with 2 running backs. You can do really whatever you want, and you are still going to have great players in the 3rd and the 4th round as well. But I think the early part of the draft is the best. But here's the thing. If your draft starts off like this, like, you kind of don't need my help. You're probably going to win your league. Like, you can just take Kelsey, just take Akers. You've locked in just 2 running back ones, the best tight end. You're going to be loaded at wide receiver in these next rounds. So let's make things a little bit more difficult on ourselves. I can edit picks. I just can't, like, go back. So if I edit this person, I can't go back and do these ones. So let's do this one. All right. Instead of Hopkins, we're going to have them take Travis Kelce, and we'll see how the rest of the picks work out. We just basically want to make sure we don't get unrealistic things too often here. Let's go, instead of Michael Thomas, we'll have them take Akers. And then I think now it's probably better, right? Akers is not going to be there at the late 2nd. Kelsey's not going to be there at the late 2nd. Let's look at the board now. So now we have the option of Waller, Kittle. That probably will be there. Mahomes will be there. These running backs look a little more realistic. Oh, Najee Harris probably will not be. So let's do, we'll say instead of him, we'll do Harris. This will be the last one that we change in this round. We might change some other ones as well. I just want to make this as realistic as possible for you guys. So now the top running back is Swift, Clyde, Carson. So we're not going running back, right? Like, if Akers was there, if Harris was there, we're smashing that every single time. But I'd be very surprised if that was actually there in your draft. Mahomes is an option, but like I've said, I'd prefer getting him in the 4th round. If you can get that, we're obviously not going to do that with the first pick. First pick? Yeah, first pick in the 3rd round. Like, that's just aggressive. We're not going to get him in the 4th. So maybe this 5th round pick, we can look at quarterback. we're not going to go there. So our option is basically to grab two just incredible wide receivers, Jefferson and Metcalf. That's a great start. Or we can grab Darren Waller. I think there's a lot of value in having the number one running back, having potentially, Waller could beat out Travis Kelce, potentially the number one tight end, but probably a top three, most likely a top three tight end with our pick at wide receiver. I want to say I have Metcalf. Yes, I have Metcalf actually ending. That needs to be adjusted a little bit. But yeah, ending that like first tier, and then Jefferson kind of starts the next one. So I have Metcalf 16, Jefferson 22. And then if we throw in tight ends, I do have Waller one spot behind Jefferson. My thinking is that we go with one of each here because I think we can still get great value at wide receiver, and I do want to lock up this stud at tight end. So DK Metcalf, and then we'll go with Darren Waller. Again, totally fine if you wanted to go with Justin Jefferson and DK Metcalf there. You wanted to go with some other wide receivers that you really like. Totally fine if you want to do that. Brandon Ayuk gets taken right before us. That's sad. Okay, pull up the draft board. So what happens after us? We see Kittle go in the mid-third round. We see Patrick Mahomes go 2 picks after us. We see Josh Allen go. No one else goes in the 4th. So we have an option to take a quarterback with this next pick. We only see 6 running backs go. Clyde, Swift, Sanders, Carson, Montgomery, and Etienne. And we see a bunch of wide receivers go off the board. So I'm not going to list every single one of them. But, a good amount of receivers came off the board. So at receiver, our option is Thielen, Lockett, Galladay, Juju, Higgins. No one is standing out, and I'm probably not going to take any of the wide receivers. Had basically any of these guys, had Woods, Godwin, Deontay Evans, Ayuk, Lamb, any of these guys been available at this 4-5 turn, I'm taking one of them. But none of them are, and I feel like I'd be kind of ending a tier or at least ending the run. I mean, I don't see a huge difference in a lot of these guys, so probably not going to go with wide receiver. Definitely not going with tight end. So I think our best option is we take our favorite running back, and then we take our favorite quarterback. That start will allow us to have the number one running back, the number one tight end. Potentially, Kyler Murray could easily be the number one quarterback. So we're just locking up studs at every position here. And then I think we go back to running back because it's where we see the sharpest drop off. We're going to see a lot of wide receivers go, but there's not a massive drop off from Thielen and Lockett down to Claypool and Sutton and Chark and Chase. There's not a big drop off there. But with the running backs, we're definitely at risk of missing out on these top 6-7 guys. And now it becomes a little bit more shaky, and we are going to make sure. I think we'll make sure Williams isn't there. Well, no, Williams could end up being there at that 6th pick. I won't force that if the computer doesn't do it because I don't think his ADP in actual drafts right now is crazily different from that. I could be wrong. I don't think it's crazily different from that. But I think if we're looking at this, we don't like Jacobs. I have concerns about Gaskin. I have concerns about Mike Davis. I think that the clear pick here is Dobbins. I know there are definitely a lot of concerns about just that offense not throwing to running backs, them definitely using Gus Edwards, but I think where we end up getting him there in the 5th round, I mean, he was going in the 2nd round before everyone started raising these concerns. Dropping to the 5th round is an overreaction. In my opinion, it's a big overreaction. I think he deserves to be kind of in that late 3rd round kind of range. I would probably still draft these wide receivers ahead of him. But when we're talking about Clyde and Etienne and Dave Montgomery, I think Dobbins deserves to be in that conversation. And so, and even with these guys, so getting him at the end of those guys, I mean, there's no way he should go later than I just got him. So pairing McCaffrey with Dobbins, being able to have Metcalf, Waller, Kyler Murray, I think we have a very, very, very smart start to this draft. none of these dudes are going to bust, like truly bust, unless there's an injury, and that's what we love in the first 5 rounds. Now we can definitely start taking a lot more upside. If you will see, though, I could have gotten Lamar Jackson in the 6th round. So if we look back, my team probably would have been better off had I taken maybe Jamar Chase at this pick. But I think it was like worth taking that chance, because had we missed out on Lamar Jackson, I think our team would have been weaker. And I mean, we could have known he was going to be available in the late 6th. And I think when actual drafts happen, I don't think Lamar's going to actually go that late. But since we're not going to take him, I'm not going to adjust it. We'll just give the computer some sort of value there. Would still be sharp going with running back here if there's some guys that we like, and just ensuring that we're not dumpster diving for our running back 3. We just want to make sure that we don't completely abandon wide receiver. Again, this is a full PPR league, and so I don't want to have Metcalf and then absolute scrubs. I don't think we'll be left with absolute scrubs if we don't take 2 here. But I probably want to take 1, right? I mean, part of me is saying we can get Kareem Hunt and Javonte Williams and then just say we're done drafting running backs, and maybe we'll take like 2 with our last picks, but we'll just hammer out wide receivers with our next. That would be what? So we take 2 of them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We do 5 wide receivers in a row and basically say upside, 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 upside. I know I'm not going to hit them all 5, but maybe I can hit on 2 of them, and then I'll still be good to go, and I'll have running backs throughout the draft. That is something I kind of want to do. If we were going to go with wide receiver here, we probably would look at Claypool. That's probably the guy we would end up taking. Obviously, he's not going to be there at the next pick. I'm thinking at the next pick, maybe we'll be able to get, and I'm talking like if I took Hunt and Williams here, could I get like Pittman? Could I get AB and Pittman? Like, I guess, is it going to be in this range? Like LaVisca Pittman would be phenomenal. Will that be there? Probably not. So what would I choose? I'd choose Pittman. It's risky. It's risky because we're getting into the range. Like, we're still going to be able to get our guys that we like late, our upside picks. Let's do it. Let's test this out. Let's take Kareem Hunt. Let's take Williams. And let's just hope that some of these wide receivers that we like are still there at our next pick. Lamar goes in the 7th again. That's just not going to happen. But it wasn't worth changing. Oh my goodness. Sadness. 4 picks before us. We see Pittman and LaVisca both go. Some of the picks I haven't really mentioned go. Like Pitt's gone, Goddard gone, Tunyon gone. But again, we're not looking at tight end. In this round, we see a huge run at quarterback. Or in these 2 rounds, Lamar, Rodgers, Wilson, Hurts, Herbert, Brady all go before our next pick. Again, we don't care about that because we actually prefer there was a huge run there because we got a little bit more value. But fortunately, some of those guys go. So now our options at wide receiver are, we take Antonio Brown. I mean, that is probably smart for us to do here. We could look at Parker. I'm not pumped about that though, because I just don't know what the target share is going to be. I think it's going to be pretty spread out between Parker, between Fuller, between Waddle, Gesicki, the running backs. I think it's going to be a very even distribution, and Parker kind of got there more off of volume. If the volume is not going to be as high, I don't feel great about taking him. I think it's more of a best ball pick just because I have no clue if I'm going to be able to consistently start him. I know I talked about that video on Saturday, but this is a different situation, right? So on Saturday, I talked about, it's kind of a cop-out saying that, being like, oh, he's a high-variance play, I wouldn't take him in season long. It's not that Parker's a high-variance play, it's that I have no idea what his volume is going to be. Like, I'm perfectly comfortable saying, I don't know what the target share is going to be, so grab him in best ball because maybe it works out, maybe he has some spiked weeks. In season long, it's not that I'm avoiding players that have high ceilings. It's I'm avoiding players where I have no idea how many targets they're going to get. Especially, I mean, we're in like the 8th to 9th round. It's still relatively early. There's still really good players on the board. So if there are guys that I just don't feel confident in their target shares, I don't really want them in season long because Parker could easily bust if Waddle's used a lot, if Fuller's used a lot, and he's getting like 6 targets a week. Is he really going to get there in 6 targets a week? Probably not. He'll have some good games, but I'm just never going to start him in a season-long league. So that's kind of the thinking there. That's the distinction between avoiding high upside players and avoiding players when I have no idea what their target share is going to be. Antonio Brown is I think, a good pick here. He was really, what was the metric? He was very, very high in a metric last season. It was something per route run. I don't know if it was targets per route run. It was something to where when he was on the field, the Bucs were utilizing him. It's just that he joined the team, during the season, and of course, they still have other good players, so he's never going to truly break out. But I think this is a really, really good spot to get him. Obviously, you got to know that he's got a very, very low floor because he could literally just not play this season. But he's Antonio Brown. He was still really good last season. He's going to be good. If he doesn't get suspended or arrested, then he's going to have a good season. And I think it's worth taking that upside pick. I'd rather take Antonio Brown's upside over Parker. Because I'm not scared that Parker is going to be arrested. I'm scared that Parker is not going to get targets. It's as long as AB doesn't get arrested, I think we're probably good to go. Who do we take now, though? Our nightmare has happened that we don't get, did I say Pitts before? We don't get Pittman, and we don't get LaVisca. Not in love with Antonio Brown. Marquise Brown. Not in love with Gallup. I'd rather be taking guys that have a chance to be the ones on their offense than guys who we know are going to be the 3 on their offense. Marvin Jones, fine, but he could be the 3 on an even worse offense. Mike Williams, fine, not super exciting. Definitely not Cole Beasley. Can't afford any tin hats on my team. But also, I just wouldn't draft him. I think he's I don't know. Yeah, I don't love drafting Cole Beasley. Hilton, no. I think Pitts is easily going to be their top guy. He's regressing, no to him. Waddle, I have no idea what Waddle's target share is going to be. It's the same thing with Parker. And honestly, if I'm choosing between these two, I'm just going to take the established guy in Parker. I think Waddle can be good, but maybe more in the future. So it's gross. It's gross. So maybe we should have just bitten the bullet, chosen one between Kareem Hunt and Javonte Williams. Our running backs are great, but choose one between those guys and grab that 3rd wide receiver. But you know what? Let's just go with the volume. Let's just grab our favorite guy. Let's just keep hammering out the volume. One of these guys is bound to hit. I honestly think it's Mike Williams is the most likely. I've shared my concerns about the potential of Herbert to not be as great this season as people are expecting, and that could have a negative impact on Mike Williams. But another way of looking at that is he's not going to be the one. Obviously, Keenan Allen's the one, but he's the outside receiver. If Herbert does have a good season, Mike Williams is probably going to be pretty good, and getting him, in the 9th round is probably a pretty good value. It looks like Russell Gage will pull up the board here. Looks like Russell Gage did get taken. That's unfortunate. But no one else, we really, really wanted. We see a pretty big run at the running back position. Only Tannehill goes. Only Logan Thomas goes. So let's just take another upside wide receiver here. Mooney, definitely, if Fields ends up taking over at some point, which I know that he's going to do. Campbell, Bateman, Gabriel Davis, Rondell Moore, Jacoby Myers, Elijah Moore will be the pick here. I think our plan is we take Elijah Moore, we take Mooney, we take Myers, and then I only want one more. We're gonna take 2 more. Yeah, I only want 1 more running back. We'll just do a pure upside running back after this. Let's take Campbell here. Let's take Myers with this next pick, and then we'll take whatever running back. So I know I avoided wide receiver. We've got Metcalf obviously locking that down. We've got Antonio Brown to feel okay about, but obviously I'm weak at wide receiver. And so just saying, hey, can one of Mike Williams, Elijah Moore, Darnell Mooney, Paris Campbell, or Jacoby Myers work out? I think the answer is absolutely. I think that Elijah Moore and Jacoby Myers are going to be the leading receivers for their respective teams, so I think they're a great value. I think if Fields takes over, Darnell Mooney is a great value. I think Paris Campbell can honestly have a great season. He's a phenomenal wide receiver, just been plagued with injuries, which was not a thing that really happened in the past. It's been more of an NFL thing. He could stay healthy this season and have a really nice season. So just those 5, I just kind of want one of them to work out basically, and then we'll look on free agency, we'll look in the trade market, try and get some buy lows. That's how I would operate under there. And then let's just take an upside running back. So I don't want anyone with a floor. Let's be honest, we're not starting anyone that's like a floor running back at this point. I want someone who I can drop in week 2 if he's doing absolutely nothing, where it looks like he's going to have absolutely no role. It could be P. Ryan. Again, I'm coming off of it a little bit because I want to see the reports come camp on that one. He's clearly got upside because like if he's the one in Cincy, like that's a ton of upside if Mixon goes down. But I guess I want to verify that he would actually end up being the one. So is there anyone else? I mean, maybe I end up taking him. But is there anyone else? Stevenson, I guess, because Sony Michel could get cut. And if he gets cut, and let's say Damian Harris gets hurt, I mean, they were talking about Stevenson as basically a LeGarrette Blount that's also pretty good at pass catching. Like, I don't think he's taking over Harris, so you're going to need a Harris injury. But, I mean, I don't think Sony Michel is going to be on the team this season. And so he'd be one away from being the number 1 back, potentially using the passing game. And especially if they move over to Mac Jones, they might actually throw to their running backs. So that's an option. Other than him, yeah, it's P. Ryan. And that Elijah Mitchell, if you really think he breaks out or he just secures the number 3 job, but probably not. Let's just go with Stevenson. They seem pretty excited about him. And like I said, if they're comparing him to a LeGarrette Blount who can pass catch, and he's going to take touchdowns, I don't know, could be a nice upside pick there. So that's going to do it. I mean, we're going to take Washington here. We're going to get crushed in the grade for taking those guys. But again, we don't care about the grade. I think this turns out pretty good, and we have a lot of upside if we can hit on wide receiver. So again, after all these drafts, I want to go over like what is the goal of this team? How am I winning a championship with it? Well, we need Kyler obviously and Darren Waller to work out, but I feel pretty good saying they're going to work out. Christian McCaffrey needs to stay healthy this season, but I mean you can't really predict that. He's a great pick. We feel very good about running backs. Obviously, we feel great about our quarterback and our tight end. So the goal of this team is to look early in the season. What is Antonio Brown's role? Can we rely on him as a wide receiver 2 or one of our flex spots week in, week out? And then basically pay attention to all of these wide receivers. Do we think that one of these guys is going to be a consistent option for us, someone we could use in the flex, someone we could potentially use at wide receiver 2? If the answer is no to all of Mike Williams, Elijah Moore, Darnell Mooney, Paris Campbell, and Jacoby Myers, if they're all no's, we got to do something. We maybe got to flip Hunt or Williams for a wide receiver. We got to be looking on free agency. Is there a different rookie that's breaking out? Is there a young player that's breaking out? Is there an injury and someone's going to get more targets? We got to figure that out. That's the number 1 goal of this team. But honestly, I mean, I think Elijah Moore and Jacoby Myers are going to be really, really nice picks for us. And if we're using them at like 2 in the flex and rotating in with Brown and these running backs can produce for us, I don't know. I think this is a really, really nice start. And we don't need our running backs to dominate and our wide receivers to dominate because we even have Kyler Murray crushing, Darren Waller crushing. That's a positional advantage over a lot of different teams. So that is the end of this mock draft. Let me know the stat of the day in the comment section below. Let me know any picks you would have made differently. Maybe we should have changed up this Kareem Hunt, Javonte Williams, only taken Williams. Then maybe we could have gone a different wide receiver. Maybe should have gone with like Claypool and Williams, and then maybe a different running back here instead. But I think it was a smart way to construct our roster. Getting those 6 wide receivers in a row, someone's going to work out. One of these guys is going to be good. So that'll do it for this one. Hope you all enjoy. If you did, how about hitting that like button? And how about subscribing to the channel if you're new here? Thanks for watching.